my name's Scott from GK's Fitness and Therapies. Today I'm bringing to you a presentation about the maintenance of hamstrings for footballers. Okay, so the presentation itself will go through a number of different sections. So we'll first start off to talk about the hamstrings, where they start, where they finish, what their general function is, and then we'll look at ways that we can help with the warming up of the hamstrings before a game for footballers. And then we'll also look at a maintenance exercise, which is like an advanced stretching type for the hamstring called PNF stretching, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Okay, so the hamstrings themselves are very strong muscles. They are situated at the upper section of the back of the leg. So the origin of the muscle is on the ischial tuberosity. Okay, so if you think of your pelvic bone, at the bottom of the pelvic bone, you've got like a little curved section what comes out. That is your ischial tuberosity. That's where they start, and as they run down the leg, they insert onto the proximal parts of the tibia and the fibula. Okay, so your tibia and fibula, your shin bones, the inside and the outside. So the proximal parts basically mean they attach at the top on the outside of each of the bones. Okay, so I have attached a couple of slides here which will show you exactly where they insert and where they start from, where the origin is. So obviously with this being a video, if you need to refer back, I've attached that for you to have a look at so you can understand exactly what I mean about where they attach and where they insert. Okay, so there's three main muscles. So you've got your biceps femoris, semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Okay, now their primary function is flexion of the knee and extension of the hip. So flexion basically means where you're shortening the angle of the joints. So from the knee to the hip, you're reducing the angle of the ankle up towards the hip. And extension basically means standing you up straight. So without your hamstrings, basically you would fall down, and also you won't be able to move your legs. Now within football, obviously the intensity of the game means that we're constantly changing the strength needed within the hamstrings. So a lot of injuries occur within the hamstrings, and that is generally down to poor warming up or either poor posture, poor technique. Because of the game itself, there's a number of ways that this muscle can get damaged. So it's important that we look after it. So what we'll talk about now is we're going to move on to showing you a demonstration of a pre-sports massage, and I'll explain what techniques are being used and the reasons why we use them. Okay, so I'm just about to demonstrate a pre-sports massage on George here. Pre-sports massage obviously is to reactivate the muscles and stimulate the nervous system. So there's a number of different techniques what we use. We've got Swedish massage techniques where we use effleurage and petrissage, where we're using the long strokes up and down the muscle and then the ringing and kneading of the muscle. But then we also use something called tapalpment, which is where you're stimulating the nervous system by, you can do slaps on the back of the leg, you can do chops with the hands, but I'll show you those as we go through. Okay, so we've got the long strokes up and down the muscle. So we're working in line with the muscle fibres. Okay, and then you've, like I said earlier, you've got your ringing and your kneading as well, which is your petrissage. Again, this needs to be fairly quick for a pre-sports rub because we're trying to get the muscles activated to work and not to relax. Okay, and then you've got your tapalpment, which is your striking of the muscle. So you've got your hacking, which is using the outside of the hands, a little bit like a karate chop. And then you've got your cupping as well. With the cupping, it's supposed to create a suction which brings the blood vessels to the surface of the skin. Now this massage, what we're doing here is quite superficial. We're not looking to get deep into the tissues, we're looking to get the tissues warm and flexible for the game. Okay, once you've done that, you go back to your long strokes again. Again, it's important this is nice and quick for that stimulation of the nervous system to think we've got some activity going on rather than relaxing. And then once you've done one leg, obviously you move on to the other. Okay, so that is the pre-sports rub done. You're looking at probably around about 2 or 3 minutes per leg. If you think about this, if you're the only sport therapist doing this for a football team, this is quite hard work, it's quite hard going, so it's important that you've got a good level of fitness yourself as well to be able to maintain the speed, to maintain the pressures for all of the team. Now, what I'm going to move on to now is I'm just going to ask George if you can just turn over for me so he can lie on his back for me. This technique, what I'm going to show you now, is generally used for a maintenance technique, so I wouldn't recommend doing this before a game of football because you want to keep that the muscle in prime condition. You don't want to waste any energy. So this is something what you do probably midweek after a game, a post-treatment this one is. Okay, so PNF stretching is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, and it's basically stretching against resistance. Okay, and what we first do, we just get our customer, our client or our player to bend the supporting knee, so we take the pressure off the lower back, and then we take the leg that we're working with and we find their point of resistance. Okay, is that about as far as you could go? Now with PNF stretching, I would expect a minimum of a 5% increase on the flexibility of the muscle. So this increases the flexibility of the muscle and the range of motion with the joints. Okay, so as you can see there, we've got pretty much a right angle on George's leg there. Okay, so what you do, you lower that down so the leg is level with the opposite knee. Keeping the leg straight, try not to put too much pressure on the kneecap, but I'm going to ask George to put 40% pressure down onto my shoulder. So try and push your leg down 40%, George. You do that for 5 seconds and then increase it to 80%. Okay, so always explain to your client that they need to keep breathing as well. Okay, relax. So it's important that they keep breathing because you'll watch your clients hold the breath, and that is the worst thing you can do because then you're shutting off all your oxygen then, okay? So then you move your leg probably around about another 30 degrees or so, and you perform that again. So if you can do 40% for me. 4, 5, no, 80%. And relax. Okay. Then the final section is you take that leg to where you originated from, where you started, which is the right angle. And then you ask 40% again. And 80%. And relax. Okay, and then we take it on to the full range of motion. Now you can see from that there's an increase in the flexibility of the hamstring. So we've moved on probably about 5-10%. Okay, and then you relax your client's leg down. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Any more information, please have a look on my website at www.gksfitness.co.uk. Thank you.